everyone. Welcome to this lecture on T.S. Eliot's essay titled Tradition and the Individual Talent. As we all know, T.S. Eliot is a major figure of the 20th century. He was a poet, playwright, journalist, and critic. Tradition and the Individual Talent was first published in 1919 in the Times Literary Supplement as a critical article. The essay can be regarded as an unofficial manifesto of Eliot's critical creed. This essay is divided into three parts. The first part gives us Eliot's concept of tradition. In the second part, he develops the theory of impersonality of poetry. And the third part is in the nature of a conclusion. Eliot begins the essay by discussing about his concept of tradition. Tradition is not the slavish imitation of the past. Tradition doesn't mean a blind adherence to the ways of past generation or generations. Tradition can only be obtained by hard labor. Tradition can only be obtained by those who have the historical sense. And what is this historical sense? The historical sense involves a perception not only of the pastness of the past, but also of its presence. One who has the historic sense feels that the whole of the literature of Europe, from Homer down to his own day, including the literature of his own country, forms one continuous literary tradition. That is, Eliot realizes that the past exists in the present and that the past and present form one simultaneous order. It is this historic sense which makes a writer traditional. So, tradition implies recognition of the continuity of literature, a critical judgment as to which of the writers of the past continue to be significant in the present, knowledge of these significant writers obtained through painstaking effort. So for Eliot, tradition is a matter of much wider significance. For him, tradition is not anything fixed and static. It is constantly changing and growing. For example, every great poets like Virgil, Dante, or Shakespeare add something to the literary tradition. Just as the past directs and guides the present, so the present alters and modifies the past. Then Eliot discusses about the theory of the impersonality of poetry. The poet must be as impersonal and objective as scientists, according to Eliot. The emotions and passions of a poet must be depersonalized. The poet's personality is merely a medium, having the same significance as a catalyst agent or a receptacle in which chemical reaction takes place. That is why the poet holds that honest criticism and sensitive appreciation is directed not upon the poet but upon the poetry. So for Eliot, poetry is organization rather than inspiration. The greatness of a person depends upon the intensity of the process of the poetic composition. The emotions of the poetry is different from the personal emotion of the poet. The emotion of the poetry must be complex and refined. Even the emotions which the poet have never personally experienced can serve the purpose of the poetry. Eliot concludes the essay by saying that poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. It is not an expression of personality, but an escape from personality. Hope you got an overview about this essay. Thank you for listening.